few words, and good evening to you, Madam Mayor, to the council, of course, to city staff, and to all of the citizens who are attending the meeting today in Loveland. I apologize that I couldn't be there with you in person. Unfortunately, duty calls here in Washington, D.C., as we work to fund the government and pass an omnibus funding bill, along with many other priorities, of course, that are important to the people of the 2nd District, Delaware County, and to Loveland. But nonetheless, I'm grateful for the opportunity to be able to join you all virtually. And of course, a bittersweet appearance for me personally. I have had the distinct privilege of serving as your congressman, of representing Loveland in the United States House of Representatives for the better part of the last 4 years. And as you all know, as we look to a new year and a new Congress, of course, a new congressional district as well, and the fact that the city of Loveland, the city proper, will be having a new congressional representative in my friend and colleague Ken Buck of the 4th Congressional District. And I must say that while I am very sad to lose Loveland, it has been a real honor and a pleasure and a privilege to be able to get to know the people of Loveland, to serve them, to represent them, and of course, to work with all of you. And I'm very proud of the work we've been able to do and the collaborative relationship that our office has been able to develop with the city of Loveland over the course of the last several years. We intend to hit the ground running in the next 118th Congress and in the new year, and are working closely with Representative Buck's office to ensure that the transition is a smooth one in terms of casework and other matters that constituents have raised within the city of Loveland, and ensuring that those are passed along and transitioned effectively and efficiently to Representative Buck, whom, of course, I work with closely on the Judiciary Committee, among many other joint programs and activities and priorities that we have pursued in the Congress. It has been an incredible honor, as I said, to serve our community the last couple of years. Certainly, it has not been without its challenges. It's been a very turbulent time in our country, in our state, and certainly in the United States Congress. And I know the community of Loveland has faced a number of challenges, as I reflect back during the course of my service these last several years. Of course, the Cameron Peak wildfire and the real challenge that it posed to so many families living in Loveland, the realities of the long recovery from the historic 2013 floods, the recovery work of which lasted well into my first term in the United States Congress. And of course, more recently, I would be remiss if I didn't just acknowledge the terrible loss and tragedy of a former Loveland City Council member and Loveland State Representative Hugh McKeon, who was a friend, someone whom I had the privilege of working with and whom I found to be a really kind and generous leader, and whom I miss dearly, and I know the community of Loveland misses him as well. I hope you all will know, notwithstanding the fact that Loveland will be in the 4th Congressional District, our door is always open. We have a number of priorities that we intend to continue to pursue in the 118th Congress that will, of course, impact Loveland, whether it's the Northern I-25 funding priorities that we have pushed, and working with the Northern I-25 Coalition. Of course, the expansion at the airport, which I know Loveland has a direct and vested interest in, along with the city of Fort Collins, which of course I will continue to represent in my capacity as the congressman for the 2nd District. Wildfire mitigation resiliency work that will undoubtedly benefit the county as a whole and will inure to the benefit of the people of Loveland as well, among many other priorities that we will continue to pursue. And I guess my only request is that you'll continue to let us know if there are ways that we can assist. And we intend to crash the party for the Pulliam community building once that is reopened. And I understand there's a conversation about that tonight. So in any event, I digress. But obviously, we're proud to have a community funding request approved for the Pulliam building, and looking forward to seeing that project come to full fruition. So thanks again. It's been an honor. I'm happy to answer any questions, but appreciate the opportunity to come by and say hello.
Thank you, Congressman. Councilor Olson, your light is on. Did you have something?
Nope.
I think, okay, Councilor Sampson.
Oh, if you wanted to go, Mayor, that's all right.
No, go
okay. Hi, Congressman Neguse. Nice to see you again. I don't know, can you see us at all?
I can, yes.
Okay, excellent. Well, it's very nice to see you. Thanks for being able to drop in this evening, as I know you're very busy. And I just want to say thank you for your representation of our district, for the work that you've done with all the things you mentioned. I mean, you've really done an incredible job, and I would be remiss to say that I will miss you very much, and that I don't really necessarily want our new representative, because you were amazing. But that being said, I am grateful for the opportunity that we've had to work with you. We are coming to NLC, in March. Do you think you'll still be there doing tours and seeing your other constituents?
Of course. We were, as I said, Loveland is always welcome, and we will endeavor to perhaps do a joint tour of the Capitol with Representative Buck. We'll do a Larimer County joint tour with all folks who end up joining.
Excellent, because that's the other thing I was going to ask, is how can we get to know our Representative Buck? So thank you. I'm glad you'll do a warm introduction for us in March, and I really appreciate you, and I hope you have a wonderful holiday season. Thank you again.
Congressman Neguse, you may be aware that we're still kind of struggling to actually get the $1 million that you had appropriated for us into our checking account so we can spend it on the polio.
Yes, I'm well aware, and we're working with Representative Buck to ensure that we'll continue to be engaged in that process so that is resolved.
Is there anything we need to do I know we're working with HUD on that. Is there anything from our end that you need from us?
Not that I'm aware of. We'll make sure. I'll check in with our district director tonight. But my understanding is that HUD, that you all are actively engaged with HUD on that front, so it should get resolved.
All right, City Manager, does that cover what you think we needed to know tonight? I'm giving Steve an opening here.
Congressman, it's good to see you again, and we'll enjoy all of the cooperation that you and your staff have given our city and our community and our staff, and we really appreciate that. On the follow-up of HUD, we have yet to need the last step is a negotiation of a reimbursement agreement with HUD. And there's some flexibility in how much money they give us up front and how much then we have to spend and then get reimbursed. And we were hoping when this project initially came out that the money would be a grant, 100%, or the $1 million would be given to us up front. Now it looks like there may be some opportunity from HUD to create a reimbursement agreement for us where we have to spend the money and then get reimbursed back, which is a little bit different approach. And we were just hoping if you would ask HUD if you could make it 100% upfront reimbursable. In other words, give us the $1 million up front and we'll send you all the receipts later. So a shameless plug for, I think, a phone call only you can make to the HUD director as kind of a last request as you leave our district. So our staff, I know, have been working very closely with you, as you mentioned, and we're anxious to get this project across the home stretch.
Certainly. I will follow up with our team tonight, and I imagine that's something that we can do in short order in terms of making that request of the HUD regional representative or the HUD secretary if necessary.
Thank you very much, Congressman.
Yeah, thank you, City Manager, for kind of clarifying the need. And Congressman, I had the opportunity and the privilege to meet you before you were first elected, and I saw in you a gentleman on fire with the public interest in his heart, and a public servant heart that was. You have been an inspiration to everybody who sees you hit the ground running. It is unbelievable how much you have gotten done in the short time you have been, one of our elected leaders. I commend you on your staff. The people that you have in your support teams, they are genuine, honest, hardworking. Calling them on a weekend and telling them, I've got a local resident and her daughter is stuck in Wuhan, China at the beginning of COVID. And you managed to get them on a plane a few days later out of there. You helped an elderly gentleman who was struggling with getting his unemployment during COVID. And then later, his IRS refund. Your staff, from big and small to fire mitigation to COVID, you have been amazing, and I am absolutely saddened to lose you as our official representative, but you have opened the door tonight, and you are well aware that I'm not bashful about making requests. So I intend to still be a bug in your ear. And I do thank you recently for meeting with PRPA and listening to our goals and keeping an eye out for how you might help us reach those goals. Truly do appreciate you. Hats off. You are an inspirational leader. Thank you.
Mayor?
Yeah.
Representative Neguse, I want to thank you so much. You've been very much boots on the ground. You've always participated actively with all of our staff here at the City of Loveland, and we're going to miss you. One of my most memorable events is your tour of the Capitol, where you took us out on the Speaker's balcony, which looks over the mall, and it was just dusk, and it was sunset, and as you pointed out, Speaker Pelosi opened that. It had been closed for many, many years. And the only sad thing is I was watching on January 6th when they breached that beautiful hallway behind the House chambers, and I thought, oh my God, that's where we were less than, 2 years ago. But thank you for your service. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Congressman.
Thank you. Thanks again for all the kind words. The privilege has been all mine, so I very much appreciate it, and more to come. So look forward to working with you all for years to come.
All
Take care.
right. Safe and happy holidays to you and your family.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye. Moving on, procedural information. Anyone using the meeting ID and link at the front of the agenda during any portion of tonight's meeting must be viewable to City Council by using their camera feature during the caller's public comment and must be a Larimer County resident or an individual who owns property or has a business interest in the city. The caller should choose the raise your hand feature to let the moderator know you wish to speak. Anyone making an in-person comment during any portion of tonight's meeting should come forward to a microphone. Please do not interrupt other speakers. Side conversation should be moved outside the council chambers. Comments will be limited to no more than 3 minutes. The city clerk will start the timer once an introduction is made, and a buzzer will sound when the 3 minutes have expired. We ask that you please identify yourself and your city of residence when giving public comment. So item 2 is public comment. Anyone who wishes to speak may address the council at this time. We'll start with people inside chambers. Is there any public comment? Oh, and I should add, having spoken with the city attorney, public comment on the performance review and there's 2 motions involved, getting legal advice from our city attorney and the performance review of our city attorney. That public comment needs to come at the beginning of the meeting.
All right, so addressing the performance review comes now.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Linda Rosa, Ward 2, and I am going to speak about the city attorney's performance review, and I urge you to ask him to resign. I agree with Troy Crenning, who has cited at length serious concerns about Moses Garcia. Over the years, I too have been frustrated at Mr. Garcia's legal opinions, which are obvious violations of state law and city charter. Here's a simple example. When City Council votes to take on debt and contractually makes a city ultimately responsible for repayment, this becomes a Tabor issue. Yet time and again, Mr. Garcia has failed to represent the rights of voters to approve these debts. Mr. Garcia is not our lawyer. He is council's lawyer, devising ways for council to get around the law as required. It is almost to a point of hilarity that Mr. Garcia has sought to please council, even advising council that it can legally delegate its rights and authority to other entities, as in his drawing up of an ordinance setting a precedent that allows other entities to pass ordinances. But council can no more legally delegate its authority than you councilors can appoint friends to sit on the dais to vote in your place. Mr. Garcia is also costly. Despite a staff of some 8 to 9 lawyers, many lawsuits are farmed out. And instead of apologizing to citizens who are obviously harmed by the city staff, he advises council to say nothing, which is exactly the opposite of what research has shown decreases litigation. as well as apologizing being the most honest and honorable thing to do, and what most citizens would want of you. Recently, Mr. Garcia has reacted in a similar way to Steve Adams' criminal case. He is still telling counsel not to discuss the criminal case, which would include an apology to Stacy Lynn, because a civil suit is pending, he says. But please note, a notice of intent to sue does not constitute a civil suit. And Garcia insists that Adams' criminal case is still pending, even if true, is meaningless to the council's obligation to deal with personnel issues. Mr. Garcia seems to forget that much of state law and the city charter are written so that the average citizen can understand it. Indeed, we are expected to understand it. Okay, I urge you to hire a counsel, a attorney.
Yes,
That-
yes.
That would help.
Thank you, Linda.
Yeah.
Appreciate your public comment. Is there additional public comment from inside chambers?